we're gonna jump right in.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it. Let's see where this goes.
Let's see where it goes. I've done a lot of research on kind of your background and how you hone in on sound.
Yes.
And you're such an appreciator of sound. And I'm really interested to hear your take on how sound directly impacts our wealth. Our health.
Which
wealth
is your
too.
wealth. Which
Yeah.
is your wealth.
True.
Yeah. There's a certain language that has been developed over the years that has finally started to regard sound as something that could be a pollutant. So they have spoke on noise pollution, and there are also certain levels of sound that you cannot exceed when you're living amongst in a residential area or trying to be considerate of the social structure that you live in. So it is regarded. It's just not out on Front Street or Main Street just yet how important the influence that sound and frequencies have upon our mental health and our day-to-day. And I don't know why that is.
Yeah.
Maybe there needs to be a new kind of language that really puts it out there. But yeah, it is considered. It is considered with depth and with understanding and with science and in the medical fields. They have always used, not always, but they have seen the importance of sounds, be if it's creating an ultrasound for your child to give you the picture of the baby that's coming into this world, to heal certain let's say what are they called, kidney stones, or what are those stones called that could create such discomfort,
I think it's going to be kidney stones.
Okay. So they have been able to, utilize sounds to implode and explode certain things inside of the body to allow the flow to, carry on properly.
Right.
And we all have our own personal experiences with, chalk, scraping across the chalkboard, or a chair sliding across the floor, or sirens from, ambulances and police sirens and fire trucks. If our reaction, to those sounds is to cover our ears or to squint our faces, then, it has an immediate visible influence upon our bodies. So I guess it's the sounds that we don't see, the frequencies that we can't hear, that I'm interested in the influence, of the sound of smart televisions or the sound of your cell phone when you're not using it. All of these devices, all of this technology, the power lines and the cell towers, they're all creating a kind of aquarium or of sonic influences, and yeah, that needs to be regarded too, and I think it becomes disregarded because there's a lot of money involved right now. There's a lot of money on the table. So when you start to investigate the influences of these frequencies, these higher frequencies, which cannot be heard, but, still influence the body, influence the sleep states, the sleep phases and stuff like that, you don't realize that, maybe some of the problems that you're having is because of how your electricity is flowing through your home.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. There's a lot of different just magnetic frequencies being, just circulating throughout our homes. So I encourage, everyone to, start to look into shielding, radiation shielding and electromagnetic shielding and protection. They're already taking that into the fashion world and creating certain clothing, cell phone cases and things to throw over your Wi-Fi. All of these things make noise, and they do have an impact on one's mental health for sure. Over time.
You hear about blue light a lot from electronics. When in the sleep world, we hear about blue light a lot and how it messes up our melatonin. And, you shouldn't use your devices close to bedtime. But I've never, ever given thought to the frequencies in which our electronics give off.
Yes. And especially just the electricity coming through the home.
Yeah.
It's making a sound, and it's producing a sound, and it's producing a certain type of magnetism. It's giving off. It's influencing the mental state for sure. And I'm not the gloom and doom, prophet on the mountain saying turn it all off and stuff.
Yeah.
But I am saying, hey, if they're not going to be considered due to placing profit over people, and our society is definitely being pushed into this virtual tele-education, telemedicine, this, that. We're being pushed into this new world, or this new normal is the phrase that I've been hearing.
Yeah.
It's something that people are going to need to start considering. The frequencies, the protection, the sonic influences, and start to create sacred spaces for your rest. No outlets in a room or something like that.
Interesting. Yeah, really interesting. And that, if you have houses and codes, you have to have an outlet on every wall.
Yes. There's a lot of dirty electricity happening.
Yeah, wow. And so when we hone in on sleep,
yes,
what do you feel like sound's role is in sleep? Like whether it's disrupting or helping, what role do you see in sleep? And do you have any sounds that you go to sleep to or you use to help maintain your sleep?
I am the artist that stays awake. So I'm looking for, ways to encourage better sleep in my life. It is not present currently, and it hasn't been present for quite some time.
I'm so sorry.
And
it's frustrating.
And it's become my normal, which it shouldn't be, but it's become my normal, and it's I guess I'm at a place where I'm still trying to figure it out. It's interesting being a field recordist and going out and collecting ocean sounds or sounds in the forest or even, just traffic sounds and stuff like that in the urban areas. And that these recordings are now becoming very popular for people to invest in, to listen to go to sleep.
Right.
And then there's the audio books where people are reading stories, sleep stories, to encourage sleep. And there's just so many things out there right now saying, we need to encourage sleep. And why is that? Why is there so many things on the market right now encouraging sleep? And I think it's because the frequencies that we are playing with keep us alert, or if not alert, in a state that feels like we never rest.
Yeah.
So
you've given me so many topics that I want to research now.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in these frequencies in our home because it makes, honestly, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, there's a lot to when you start to study sound, it's a lifetime field to study. So even as you get to know the information of today, just like science is always a sort of evolutionary thing where it's like these are the facts today, and then they change somewhere else,
right.
Down the line. Truth, I guess, is the thing that doesn't change, but facts, can be changed. And that's semantic, that could be a semantic debate, but that's what I'm noticing with science, that it all feels like an experiment. They don't know the true impact of things over time. You have to go through the time in order to find out.
So true.
And we are finding out that something is definitely keeping people awake and disturbing sleep, and there's more anxiety cases, and or anxiety has become the norm, and panic attacks. People are going into hospitals for thinking that they are experiencing cardiac arrest and stuff like that. And
right.
It's and I've been one of those people,
Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry.
So yeah, sleep is going to be a beautiful thing once it returns to my life.
You need to let me know immediately when it does.
Okay. For sure. So I do know how to create meditative states, which gets me close to that slumber. And I'm not saying I am a constant insomniac, but I would say the majority of nights I'm getting maybe 5 hours or 4 hours, and it isn't because I put myself to bed. It isn't like, okay, Ricardo, it's time to go to bed. Let me go, put my feet up in under the sheets and pull the covers up and play a little. I don't put myself to bed anymore. It's like I have to pass out.
Interesting.
It's where my body finally says enough is enough, and it's on the couch. It's an old man just on the couch, passed out, mouth open, on the floor.
I've seen that image many times.
Yes. So there's a lot of these moments where I'm passing out throughout the day. Naps, but they're never really intentional. They feel like I just slide into them.
Yeah, well, your body needs restored. Your body needs to go back to homeostasis, and it's telling you so.
Right. It just shuts down.
Yeah. And so I kind of want to pivot a little bit and talk about, I think now more than ever, people are trying to reach for more simple things. They're trying to appreciate what is in front of them. And so I would love to hear your take on, despite our world being full of noise and sound, there are a lot of beautiful, beautiful sounds out there. And a lot of them would go unnoticed on a daily basis. Whether that's birds chirping or whatever it may be that brings pleasure to your ears. And so how would you, for someone that wants to maybe be more present, and that can start with sound, how would you go about telling them how to notice those unnoticed sounds of the day?
Right. I think it starts with the breathing. And listening to yourself breathe. I think that is a great point of departure that brings about awareness of your own, I am your own self. And, but sometimes, it depends on what you're bringing to the table, because sometimes that kind of self-awareness can be too much, and you don't want to overdo it. So you have to find what is right for you. But for me, I've asked myself the question: have you heard yourself listening, and have you listened to yourself hearing? And it's interesting to play with the language like that, because they can both be, it could be a synonym, listening and hearing. But let's say that they're not synonymous, and that there is more intentionality in the listening, the act of listening. And hearing is something that is just done with or without your consciousness, without your involvement. It's just what, if you have been given the sense of hearing in this life, it just happens, you know. But listening becomes this sort of, now I'm involved, now I'm present, now I'm being selective with what I want to listen to, and that's just like putting more of your attention in a certain direction. If you're listening to the birds with the, there's traffic all around you and other sounds going on all around you, but you're focused now and you're listening. So I would say it starts with being able to understand the distinction between the hearing that happens without your presence and the listening that demands your presence. Yeah.
Oh, and mic drop. I feel like that's such like a powerful sentence. I'm such a wordsmith, so you had me tied around your finger there. That was beautiful. Wow. I'm really going to think about that after this call.
Yeah. Like I said, it becomes like sound studies and studying sound, and how important it is and how we're using it. I do believe it's the medicine of the future, and it will be used in way more ways than it's being used now. But you also have sonic baths out there that you can go and kind of lay on a mat, like a yoga mat, and there's a sort of talent that is, working the crystal bowls or the Tibetan bowls, or, there's sound tables where you can lay on a table and there's a speaker beneath it, and, it starts to align all of the water that's in our bodies, and if you have seen what sound does to water, outside of yourself, it's happening inside of yourself, and there's certain frequencies that can really, really make you feel like clear and aligned. Everything is just like together, and then you can start to understand, like, oh snap, I do have a relationship with a frequency. I am a transmitter. I am a receiver. Like, all of this technology that we use, that we think we're in control of, we are actually the technology ourselves. All of these things that we're using these things for, our body already does. And I'm just talking about, I'm not getting all mystical, I'm just saying we transmit communication and information. We also receive communication and information through hearing, through taste, through our senses, so it's happening, that exchange with life, it's happening. And you best believe it has an influence.
Yeah. It's really, really interesting. And it's awesome to hear you talk about it. I mean, your passion really shines through. And like you said, this is a lifetime commitment when it comes to the study of sound. And so I'm personally really interested to just watch your journey
Awesome.
I'm really interested.
Excellent.
Okay. Well, my last question is normally what's one thing you do for your sleep every day, but I'm going to rephrase it a little bit for you.
Okay.
So tell me something that you do to restore your body, mind, soul, spirit every day. Since sleep is not in your repertoire all the time, what's something you do to restore every day?
I actually create this interesting sound where it's I don't know if I can do it right now, but it's it's like a Tibetan throat.
I was going to say that just came from you, right? Like that just came from you. That was incredible.
So me being aware of that, it does something in my chest where it feels so good. That anytime I hear myself doing that, I know that I must have just dipped into something that was uncomfortable, and now I'm doing it to like bring myself back to center.
Right.
So sometimes it's not even conscious anymore. It's just a reaction.
Wow.
To do these little chants every now and again. So that's one thing that I've noticed that I've done. Chanting. I also love to do this thing called slow walking. And it's just taking off your shoes and going out, hopefully you have some grass around or something with some dirt instead of concrete. And you can just ground yourself in your backyard, kind of just walk around as slow as you possibly can without, looking like you're drunk.
Maintaining balance.
Kind of perform the sort of meditation that makes your neighbors feel like, oh, she's doing that again. But there's that eating good food and water. Water is very important for me to like really feel restored. And also just feeling as though, the day was productive. I created some work of art. I'm always creating something every day. If it's a musical composition or just a sound collage or something visual to complement a soundscape. But yeah, also seeking out these places, seeking out the places that have less obstacles, such as the ocean. When the ocean calls, I go running to her. It's just these spaces, there's more of the filters are thinner. So even though there's activity on these beaches and stuff like that, it doesn't eclipse the sound of the ocean. It can't. Nothing
right.
Can eclipse the tumult, And so sometimes I look for spaces that, are not dominated by modern, civilization and the soundtrack for that. And yeah, those are a few things that I do to kind of restore myself.
The chanting is incredible. That's a gift. Oh my goodness. That's amazing. Yeah. So amazing. I can't thank you enough for your time, Ricardo. This was truly eye-opening.
It was brief, but I hope I answered as many. And I'm sorry I'm not a sleeper yet. But
I appreciate your honesty because I'm sure a lot of people aren't. I know a lot of people aren't.
Right.
I work for a sleep company, and sometimes I'm not, and so it's all a challenge for us. And so I really appreciate the honesty.